Hello, and welcome to this free quick guide. The number one question I get asked all of the time as a professional photographer is, what kind of camera should I get? This quick guide is to help you decide what camera is right for you. It walks you through all of the different questions to consider in order to find what is truly right for you. Because, of course, there's no one size fits all camera. There's so many different brands, there's so many different models. What settings do you need? How big of camera should you go? How much should you spend? It all depends on some different questions to consider, which is what this quick guide is going to help you do. A little background about me. I am Danielle. I have been a professional photographer now for almost a decade and have had my company underexposed for that long. I have also been shooting. I have been doing photography since high school, so nearly 2 decades now. I started in high school really with black and white film cameras. I have used so many different types of cameras since then, from the portrait studio that I worked at to my own business, to buying multiple and upgrading many, many times through my business over the years. I have used Sony, Canon, and Nikon. You will notice through this quick guide, what I shoot with primarily is Nikon, more just personal preference. I have always really liked Nikon. I shot Canon at the portrait studio. My black and white film camera was actually a Canon, but it was very old school. I have used some Sony cameras, but really I just love Nikon. I grew up with my first DSLR, my first digital camera as a Nikon, and have just upgraded through Nikon kind of ever since. I am now waiting for my newest Nikon camera, actually, my first mirrorless camera, which should be here soon, so I don't have that to show you now. But you will notice through this quick guide that a lot of the cameras that I talk about are going to be Nikon, or at least are cameras that I have used personally or have recommended other people. I would never recommend something to you that I haven't used or I don't know anything about, because how could I recommend it to you? Like I mentioned, I have been doing photography now for nearly 2 decades and have traveled all around the world, including Las Vegas, Chicago, and as far as Helsinki, Finland, to do photo shoots. I have photographed so many different types of photo shoots from start to where I am now, from portrait work to weddings and elopements to business and branding, which is mostly what I focus and specialize on now. Headshots. I've also done some fun cosplay and art type photo shoots. I've done a couple model shoots. I've done more kind of in studio. There's so many things that I have done over the years. So I want to help you be able to choose what camera is right for you, whether you are just getting started, for the different purposes of what you want to shoot. You will also see, as a quick disclaimer, that this does not include every sort of camera out there. Like I mentioned, I'm primarily going to focus on Nikon, or what I have used before, as some different options for you, depending on where you're at, depending on how you answer these questions. But this is not an all-inclusive list of everything out there. So the number one question I want you to think about when you are thinking about getting a camera is, what is your main purpose for your camera? There's a couple different types of people who want a new camera. Sometimes you just need something very simple, very easy, more of like a grab and go type camera where you don't need to know hardly anything about how to use it. Maybe you want to have fun with friends. Maybe it's just kind of simple everyday stuff, or maybe you have some vacations you just want to take it on. A couple other people that I see. So maybe you are interested in a better high quality camera, maybe something that you can grow into a little bit. Here's the type of person I usually see for this. There's usually a few types of people who want this type of camera. The hobbyist, which is what I call it, right? Usually this is the person who's actually interested in photography. You want to get a good camera so that you can learn more about photography, more about the composition or the settings, be able to do more with that, whether it's for yourself. Maybe you want to create more art or do more artsy or landscape photography with it. Maybe you might even be interested in taking pictures of people and kind of going that way. Another type of person I see is the parent. I see this all of the time. You want a really good camera that you can grow into and do a lot with, but you want it for taking pictures of your family, of your kiddos as they are in activities or as they're growing up. Maybe it's some while they are smiling and looking at the camera, but there's probably a lot that you're doing that's more candid. Last but not least of what I'm going to mention here, the other type of person that I typically see is like a business owner or a content creator or something like that, where you need a lot of photos for what you're doing. Maybe you need a lot of photos for social media. Maybe you're a blogger, right? Maybe you need it for the products that you sell, whether that's a certain product or maybe you make handmade stuff and you need to sell that. So you want to take pictures of that. Maybe you need to put it up on Etsy, right, in order to sell it. I see this a lot, whether it's lifestyle type images of like yourself and what you're doing, or product images of what you're making, or I see this a lot too in service-based businesses if you need before and after photos. So each of these for you, again, this quick guide is going to walk you through exactly what cameras I recommend for each of these types of people. As a bonus, it also gives you links directly to where you can buy these. For a lot of the cameras that I'll recommend, a lot of them you can buy as kits. So it's like a whole package instead of just the camera itself. You get a camera bag, maybe you get an SD card, maybe you get a tripod, maybe you get a couple different lenses with it. There's some different options that you can do for different packages that I've seen on Amazon. You can buy one package and have everything you need to get started instead of having to buy everything individually, which can get really expensive and feel very overwhelming. Instead, just buy the whole package. So a lot of these links will be Amazon links for that reason, but also just as a disclaimer, I am an Amazon affiliate. So a lot of these links, not all, but a lot of them will be affiliate links of mine as well. So things that I recommend because I believe in them and that's what I would buy. I want to mention just kind of like one other thing. You can also buy your first camera used or refurbished. Here's my tip for this though, and I say this in the guide as well. I would contact a professional photographer, maybe someone who is local to you. You can also find like Facebook groups of photographers or people who are local to you who might be selling cameras. Typically, professional photographers who are maybe upgrading their gear have old cameras that they're willing to sell, especially for cheaper. And they're probably going to take better care of the camera a little bit better than somebody who isn't a professional, unless that person maybe bought the camera and like never used it, right? So there's some good deals that you can get getting a camera used. Ask for the shutter count. This is going to make more sense as I explain it. But if they're able to look up the shutter count of the used camera, the shutter count is basically how many pictures you've taken. You can easily Google search the specific camera and body. So like, for example, this is a Nikon D7100, right? It'll say it right on the camera, whatever it is. You can Google search that specific camera and what the shutter life is of it. So based on where the count currently is, it'll tell you, kind of give you an idea like how much life is still left in the camera. That's something good to know. So you get what you pay for. Basically, you know what you're buying, how much life is still left in the camera. I also recommend, first of all, if you're local to Colorado, one of my favorite camera stores is Inglewood Camera. They do such a great job, especially for used and refurbished, whether that's lenses or camera bodies or other accessories and gear that you might need. They are great. I'm sure there are other like similar stores in other states that you could find too, but Inglewood Camera in Colorado is amazing for buying used gear. I have bought a lot of different lenses there that were all used and refurbished. They take care of them, they clean them, they know exactly what they're selling you. They do a really, really good job. So I would check out some of those type of stores if there's any near you as well, or check out Inglewood Camera in Colorado because they are fantastic. So a couple different options. You can buy new. I'll have links in this guide for you. You can buy used. Just be aware and cautious of what you're buying, especially when it comes to lenses. You guys, lenses are made of glass, right? That is like the most expensive part typically of the camera that you are buying because it's all glass. So a lot of times if people drop lenses, you may not be able to see the cracks on the outside. It may be more internal. So that's why I recommend make sure that you go to like a good used or refurbished place, or you talk to like a professional photographer who you trust, who's selling their gear, who's willing to like really tell you like, I've used this, I've taken care of it, I've gotten it cleaned, I haven't dropped it, like things like that, instead of someone who maybe you don't know, might be a little bit sketchy, that will sell you something bad, like a Craigslist ad or something like that. So I just want you to avoid that at all costs. So those are some things I recommend for where to buy it. So use this guide. I'll have a lot of recommendations. Ideally, as you go through this guide, you are going to end up with knowing which camera to get. You'll know where exactly to get it. If you click on the link and buy it new, you'll probably be walking away from this guide having bought your camera and having it be shipped to you, just waiting to get it, right? So as next steps, as you are ready to like get your camera and dive in, one of the things I know to be true is it can be very overwhelming to open a box or to get your camera and look at it and have no idea what to do with this. This is so common. You are not alone at all. Just know that this is the most common problem I see with people who get DSLR cameras or new mirrorless cameras. And you just don't know how to use it. And to be honest, a lot of people are afraid to start hitting buttons to like mess something up. This is so common. And here's the thing. If you are someone who, like I've mentioned in this quick guide, like you're a business owner who wants to take good photos of what you're making or your services, your products. If you are a parent, you want to get good photos of your kiddos. If you are a hobbyist photographer and you're just getting started with, say, like manual mode and your settings and just learning photography, I have a great place for you to get started with this. I have created a course, a quick course, because this does not go in depth all about photography. It does not go in depth about every single setting on your camera. You don't have to read the manual, which is a huge thing that I always hear all the time. Even I don't want to read my camera manual, right? Nobody has time for that. So instead, I've created this quick course to walk you through how to use your camera, exactly what you need to know about the buttons, getting to know your camera, how to set up your menu and some of the different settings just to get started shooting immediately. And then going in and actually teaching you the 3 simple steps to using manual mode that actually makes it really easy for you to adjust the settings manually to get the shot that you want. All of this is in this course. I will have this linked in the guide for you to get if you are interested. This would definitely be your next step for getting your camera, you're ready to use it, and here's how to do it. That way, instead of leaving your camera either in the box or on the shelf to get dusty because you don't know how to use it, you can actually start using it as soon as you get it. So I highly recommend this. Obviously, this is why I created this course, because I see this problem so often with people who get a new camera. And I get this question all the time of, I just got a new camera, I don't know how to use it. How do I get started, right? If that is you, this course is exactly for you. This is why I created it. So would love for you to join us in there. Please click on the link, go find out more info and register for this course and get to shooting. I can't wait to see what pictures you take, really what camera you decide to get. I really hope that this is helpful for you. Reach out if you have any questions and have fun getting your new camera.